You know, I was sitting on my porch the other morning, sipping my tea and watching the birds flutter around the feeder. It was peaceful, quiet, but then I caught myself sighing. Not a happy sigh, mind you. It was that heavy kind, where your shoulders slump and you think, why am I so tired by noon these days? Why do my knees groan when I stand up? Is this just how it's supposed to be after 65? Maybe you felt that too. That quiet worry that your best years are slipping away faster than you'd like. Well, what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? That some of the things we do every day, little habits we don't even think twice about, might actually be chipping away at our vitality. That's what we're diving into today. Because living longer isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Now, I'm not here to scare you or overwhelm you with complicated medical jargon. This is just a friendly chat between you and me. Over the years, I've seen too many brilliant, vibrant people slow down before their time because of a few common missteps. And the truth is, these mistakes are sneaky. They disguise themselves as comfort, as routine, as taking it easy. But the good news, once you spot them, they're surprisingly easy to fix. Today, we'll gently unpack 3 of these habits. We'll start with the first one today, the one I see more often than any other, and in our next chats, we'll ease into the others. No rush, no pressure, just simple, practical shifts that can help you feel stronger, brighter, and more like yourself. Sound good? All right, let's talk about that first big mistake so many of us make: staying glued to our chairs. Now, I get it. After a certain age, sitting feels safe. Your knees might ache, your back might protest, or maybe you're just tired. So you settle into your favorite armchair, turn on the news, and before you know it, hours have slipped by. It feels harmless, even restful. But here's the catch. Our bodies weren't designed for stillness. Every hour we spend sitting is like pressing pause on our vitality. Think about it like this. Remember how a garden hose gets stiff and brittle if it's left coiled up in the shed all winter? Our muscles and joints are the same. When we sit too long, everything starts to stiffen: our hips, our spine, even our circulation slows down. Blood pools in your legs. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard, and over time, that rest actually weakens you. It's not just about stiff joints, either. Studies show sitting for more than 6 hours a day can increase your risk of heart trouble by nearly 20%. And muscle loss. After 65, we lose up to 5% of our muscle mass every decade if we don't fight back. That's why standing up suddenly feels harder, or why carrying groceries leaves you breathless. But here's what breaks my heart. I've seen folks resign themselves to this. They'll say, well, I'm not 30 anymore, what do you expect? But that's a myth. Your body is still remarkably capable of renewal. It's never too late to wake it back up. Take my friend Arthur. He's 78, and a few years back, he'd barely leave his recliner. His world got smaller and smaller, just the TV, the kitchen, and back. Then his grandson asked him to help build a birdhouse. Just a little project. Arthur agreed reluctantly, but something magical happened. Those 20 minutes of standing, sanding wood, and reaching for tools made him feel alive again. He started tinkering in his garage every day. Nothing fancy, just puttering, organizing, fixing things. Within months, he was walking to the mailbox without his cane. His doctor was stunned. Arthur didn't run a marathon, he just stopped sitting so much. So, what can you do? Start ridiculously small. I'm not asking you to join a gym or climb stairs for an hour. Just break up the sitting. Every 30 minutes, stand up and shuffle to the window. Stretch your arms toward the ceiling like you're picking apples. Set a timer if you need to. Walk to the kitchen and pour yourself a glass of water. Hydration is a lovely bonus. If you're watching TV, stand up during commercials and march in place. It's not about intensity, it's about frequency. And here's a secret weapon: sunlight. When you stand up, step outside for just 2 minutes. Feel the air on your face. That tiny dose of nature and movement does wonders for your mood and your bones. Vitamin D loves movement, and strong bones love vitamin D. If you're feeling ambitious, try this. Sit down in a chair, then stand up, again without using your hands. Can you do it smoothly? If it's wobbly, practice it once or twice a day. It's one of the best tests and exercises for your whole body. Arthur calls it his throne challenge. The key is to make movement feel like a gift, not a chore. Put on music from your youth and sway while you fold laundry. Walk to your neighbor's mailbox instead of driving. Dust off that old bicycle and pedal for 5 minutes. Your body remembers how to move. It's been waiting for you. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if I hurt? What if my balance isn't great? Please, always talk to your doctor before starting something new. But often, gentle movement eases aches more than sitting does. Start where you are. Your future self will thank you. Music swells gently. This first step, sticking yourself from that chair, is the foundation. Because once you're moving, everything else gets easier. Your mood lifts, your bones stay sturdy, and your heart grows stronger. But there's another mistake many of us make, one that's just as common and just as stealthy. It's about how we talk to ourselves, especially when life throws curveball. We'll ease into that next time. Until then, try this. Tomorrow, notice how often you sit. Don't judge, just observe. And each time you catch yourself settled in, ask, could I stand for just 1 minute? That minute might just be the beginning of something wonderful. You know, after we chatted last time, I thought a lot about Arthur Howe. That little birdhouse changed everything for him. And it got me wondering, why do so many of us wait for a reason to move? Why do we let the chair hold us so tight? Well, if you've been trying those stand up every 30 minutes moments even just to watch the squirrels out your window, I hope you're feeling a tiny spark of lightness. That's your body saying thank you. But today, I want to talk about something quieter. Something that happens not in our muscles or joints, but in our minds. It's the second mistake so many of us make without even realizing it. Listening to that critical voice inside. Let me paint a picture. You wake up, stretch, and notice a new ache. Maybe it's your shoulder or your knee. And what's the first thing you hear in your head? Ugh, I'm falling apart. Or you misplace your glasses again and think, my memory is just gone. Or you see a photo from 10 years ago and sigh, look how vibrant I was. What happened? Sound familiar? That voice. It's like a grumpy neighbor who always has something negative to say. And here's the problem. We believe it. We let it move in rent-free, and it shapes how we see ourselves. But what if I told you that voice isn't the truth? It's just a habit, one that's secretly stealing your joy, your energy, and yes, even your health. See, science shows us something remarkable. Our thoughts directly affect our bodies. When you constantly tell yourself, I'm too old for this, or I'll never feel good again, your body listens. Stress hormones flood your system. Your heart rate climbs. Your muscles tense. Over time, that chronic stress wears down your immune system, disrupts your sleep, and even weakens your heart. It's like carrying a heavy coat everywhere, even on sunny days. Take my friend Eleanor. After her husband passed, that voice got loud. "What's the point?" it whispered. "Who cares if I cook a real meal?" She stopped gardening, stopped calling friends, stopped singing in her church choir, things that used to light her up. Within months, her blood pressure spiked, and her doctor worried about her heart. But here's the beautiful turn. Eleanor's granddaughter, Lily, started spending Saturdays with her. One day, Lily said, "Grandma, you keep saying you're just an old lady, but you taught me how to fold paper cranes." That's magic. That simple phrase, "that's magic," cracked something open. Eleanor started catching that critical voice mid-sentence. When she'd think, "I'm so slow," she'd pause and add, "But I noticed the robins building a nest today." When she'd grumble, "My hands are stiff," she'd remember, "But they held Lily's braids while I tied her ribbons." She didn't ignore the hard things, she just stopped letting the hard things define her. And guess what? Her blood pressure improved. Not because of a new pill, but because she stopped drowning in discouragement. Her body relaxed. She started breathing deeper. So how do you turn down the volume on that inner critic? Start here. Name the gremlin. When you hear that critical whisper, don't argue, just label it. "Ah, there's my you're slipping gremlin again." Giving it a silly name takes away its power. It's not you, it's just a tired old tape playing in the background. Find the evidence. Our brains love to generalize. I always forget things. Really? Always? What about yesterday, when you remembered your neighbor's birthday? Or this morning, when you knew exactly where you'd left the crossword? Write down 3 things you did remember today. Tiny proof beats a loud lie. Talk to yourself like a friend. If your best friend said, "I'm useless, I burned the toast," you'd say, "Don't be silly. Let's scrape it off and laugh about it." So why not offer yourself that same kindness? Place a hand over your heart and whisper, "This is tough, but I'm doing my best." And here's a secret. Gratitude is kryptonite for that critical voice. Not the vague "be thankful" idea, but specific daily moments. Keep a glimmer journal by your bed. Each night, write one tiny thing that made you pause. Sunlight on my teacup. The cashier smiled. I tied my shoes without sitting down. These aren't just nice thoughts, they rewire your brain to scan for goodness instead of lack. Now, I know some days are harder. Loneliness creeps in. Losses stack up. But your worth isn't tied to what you do or how sharp you feel. It's in your laugh, your stories, the way you listen. You're a library of wisdom, a keeper of love. That critical voice, it's just static on the radio. Tune it out. Music shifts gently, like dawn light. This brings us to the third mistake, one that often hides in plain sight. It's about connection, about the people we let close, and the ones we keep at arm's length. Because isolation, my friend, is a silent thief of years. But that's a conversation for next time. Until then, try this. Tomorrow, carry a small stone in your pocket. Every time you touch it, ask, "What's one kind thing I can say to myself right now?" It might feel awkward at first, like breaking in new shoes, but with each step, you'll walk a little taller. When we last spoke, I shared that little stone trick, the one you tuck in your pocket to remind you to speak kindly to yourself. I've been carrying mine too. And you know what I've noticed? When we soften that inner critic, something beautiful happens. We start seeing people differently. The barista's tired eyes, the neighbor walking their old dog, the quiet man tending his roses down the street. It's like cleaning a dusty window. The world suddenly looks brighter, fuller. Which brings us to the third mistake, one that often feels like comfort, but quietly steals our vitality: closing the door on connection. Now, hold on, know what you might be thinking. But I like my peace. After all these years, I've earned my quiet. Oh friend, I hear you. Solitude can be sacred. A cup of tea, alone with your thoughts. Heaven. But there's a difference between choosing stillness and slipping into isolation. This mistake isn't about being a social butterfly. It's about letting meaningful threads of connection fray until we feel untethered. Think about George. He's 82, sharp as a tack, and fiercely independent. After his wife passed, he told everyone, "Don't fuss over me. I'm fine." And he meant it. He kept his house spotless, paid his bills, watched his documentaries. But month by month, his world shrank. No more coffee with the guys from his old workshop. No more stopping to chat with Mary at the library. He'd wave from his porch but never invite anyone up. "I don't want to be a burden," he'd say. Then, one icy morning, he slipped on his steps. Nothing broken, but lying there in the cold, he realized no one would have known for days. That shook him. Not the fall, the silence. Here's the hard truth science shouts at us. Loneliness is as deadly as smoking. It hikes your risk of heart disease, weakens your immune system, and can even accelerate memory loss. Why? Because humans are wired for connection. When we lack it, our bodies flood with stress hormones, the same ones that spike when we're in danger. Your nervous system doesn't know you're choosing to be alone, just senses you're alone. And it screams. But George? He made a tiny shift. Instead of waiting for someone to rescue him, he planted a flag. Literally. He put up a bright blue bird feeder in his front yard. Suddenly, neighbors walking by would call out, "George, what kind of bird is that?" He'd amble out, share a fact or two. Then Mary, from the library, brought him a book on local birds. Then the young dad next door asked if he'd teach his son how to build a feeder. George wasn't hosting parties, he was just letting life in. Connection isn't about crowds, it's about meaning. A 5-minute chat at the mailbox. A handwritten note to a grandchild. Even tending a plant on your windowsill and whispering, "You're doing great." It tells your body, you belong here. You matter. So how do you weave these threads back into your days? Start where it feels light. Turn tasks into touch points. Grocery shopping. Make eye contact with the cashier. Say, "Busy day." That tiny exchange sparks your brain's feel-good chemicals. Share your why. Instead of just mentioning the weather, share a snippet of you. "I planted tomatoes today. My dad always did." It invites others in. Embrace micro moments. Can't join the senior center? Sit on your porch with a wave and a smile. Or call one person every Sunday just to say, "Thought of you." Let people help. This is the big one. When someone offers, say yes. "Yes, I'd love your extra zucchini." "Yes, could you grab that high shelf?" Letting others give to you is a gift to them. It builds bridges. And if mobility's a struggle, technology is your ally. Video calls with far-off family. Online book clubs. Even listening to a live-streamed church service makes you part of a community breathing together. Music swells softly, warmly. Now, let's gently tie this all together, because these 3 mistakes. They're threads in the same tapestry. Staying glued to your chair weakens your body's foundation. Listening to that critical voice drains your spirit. Closing the door on connection starves your heart. But the beautiful flip side, moving more within gently fuels your energy. Speaking kindly to yourself heals your nervous system. Letting people in reminds you, you are not alone. You don't need grand overhauls. Just nudge the needle. Stand up and stretch while you challenge that inner critic. Send a text while you sip your tea. Small steps compound. I think of Arthur sanding his birdhouse, Eleanor humming as she waters her roses, George pointing out a blue jay to the little boy next door. They didn't chase perfections. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thread. This week, which of these 3 shifts feels most doable? Maybe it's setting a timer to stand every half hour. Maybe it's writing one glimmer in your journal tonight. Or maybe it's waving to someone from your window like they're a long-lost friend. You've lived through storms. You've loved deeply, lost bravely, and carried on. These years, they're your sacred bonus round. Don't let sneaky habits steal their spark. If this resonated, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. What's one tiny change you'll try? Your wisdom might light the way for someone else. And if you found this helpful, tap that like button. It tells YouTube, more of this, please. Consider subscribing to We've Got more gentle, honest chats coming your way. Remember, growing older isn't about fading. It's about becoming. Becoming wiser, softer, more authentically you. So go on, my friend, and fold that chair by the window. Watch the light shift. Listen to your breath. And know, the world is brighter because you're in it.